everybody. How are you doing? Yes, it says we're live, Trina. So this is a second look, and you know who I am, and my beautiful co-host and ascended light being, Miss Trina Phoenix. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm so good. It is so glad to see you. Oh,
Well, thank you. It is
energetic.
I really missed last week when
Yeah,
we didn't get to do our show
yeah,
and due to extenuating circumstances.
that's right.
So it's been like 2 weeks and I'm going, all right, so
Time
seems
to
like a
get
lot
back
longer.
into our groove, right?
Yeah, we got, and I love the groove that we are in, and I know that the word implies a groove is actually imprinting upon something. Uh,
Yeah.
I contend that we're imprinting upon the consciousness of humanity, both
Oh,
individually in this group. Had a lot of time to think over the period, and I really like this group. It's a good group. So
it when it hits you, that's one of the biggest parts of your life. Isn't that profound?
yeah, isn't it though? It really
Yeah,
is.
it literally,
Yeah.
when you think about the soul tribe and all that it's bringing and doing, it just hits you like, this is my life, and I love it.
I mean, and we're going to get into, I have a document talking about uh, 7 cosmic connections, and no connection is accidental. So let me just say favor to everybody in BOSTO. And I've got my Sky Pilot right here. We'll give the world a big hug because Trina, this world needs, the biggest thing about this pandemic is that it separated humanity.
Yeah,
You know how you used to go up to a friend and you'd hug them, you
yeah.
know, and it was that touch, or in business, it was always the handshake, that connection. They tried to take that away from us, you know?
Well, this is part of what we were talking about, feeling that disconnection.
Yeah, yeah,
This weird feeling of weirdness that we feel. And I think it's because of the isolation that humanity just experienced over this past 12 months. This
yeah.
is one of the most deepest, darkest things that you can do to a human being, is to put them in solitary confinement, isolation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were isolated for months and months. This is collectively now, this is the trauma that we're all carrying now, because we are one. So even though we may not have gone through as an extreme, we are still feeling the extreme that everybody else that went through horrible isolation, we feel that as
I
one.
think and I just call me suspicious.
Mhm.
We can go on together with suspicious minds. Got Elvis going on here. What can we say? I mean,
Like,
I saw someone talk about it my way, and then all of a sudden I'm getting suspicious minds. But because I think that there's good cause for, I don't know. If I use the word concern, it seems like, you're prying upon raising people's anxiety levels. And that's exactly the opposite of what we have to do. I mean, there's enough stuff out there, but there is a disconnect.
mhm.
And the change in humanity as a society, wow, it's profound. And Lynn and I didn't realize this until we got out in it, and it's freaking profound, Trina. It
Yeah, it's
there has been, I kept telling her, when we would get, because if you're a married couple, you don't have to have social distance, right?
right.
It's really weird. But I kept telling her, I said, this doesn't feel right. And she looked at me and she says, yeah. She says, what's going on here? I said, honey, I don't know, but I swear it's like we have entered into a different modality of consciousness.
Yeah,
How's that?
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey,
And
everyone into the chat room. Hello, folks. We love you. Thank
yes,
you, all
we
the
do.
moderators. We love to give you a big hug, high five.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's strange.
it's beyond strange. I don't. I don't think any of us have ever felt anything quite like this, ever. It's new.
I- and,
I
and
mean,
you're
but I
seeing
do
it.
feel we might have felt this in the past, and that's where the
David Barry
alarm.
said, yeah, been saying that the other day lately. It's weird.
It's really weird because people need people,
Yeah,
and everybody's got the diapers on, and eh, they're afraid to touch each other, and
it's a
there might
police
be.
state out there. I never really. I now know what the Jews must have felt like in Germany, because uh, I'm not going to give the censors anything to hear, and
Right.
so we'll just pretend like we're saying something. But yeah, I mean, and
Mhm.
it's just it's just
Yeah.
so weird. It's just very, very weird.
I
It
think
really
that's
is.
kind of what's going on though, because that's what we're seeing is through complications we might see a lot of passing.
There is a lot of that, and I said yesterday, yes, about the cosmic rays. And folks, this is going to become a real serious issue. It's already an issue. And I'm just seeing a compounding factor, isolation. We're now entering into a time where we're being bombarded by cosmic rays that are messing with us already, psychologically, emotionally. Then on top of that, you have this other imposed reality, which is our government, which that is a strange trip. I mean, I've dropped a lot of acid, never had a trip as much as when I look what's going on in our
Oh,
government, and I'm going, what's happening here?
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were reporting that there was some weird activity at the colored house the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And
strange
yeah,
stuff.
it
And
continues.
the UFO situation, I just have this sense, and I told Lynn last night we were both reading, and I just put the book down, and this thought just hit me. I said, something's about to happen. And I think we're about to get hit with um the triple whammy. I think something's going to happen and it's going to go boom. No sooner do we get that shock, boom, we get another one. And then we think that we're going to look for that moment of potential stability. Boom, baby. The third one comes in, and who knows, there may be a fourth one behind it. I don't know.
No, it's so interesting because um they were one of the channels talking about that 3 days of darkness, and the prophecies associated with that are so interesting. And it seems like that's part of that prophecy was like she said you would go through the O hole and it would seem like you were going to hit a dead end, and you'd hit a dead end and then you'd go through that dead end and then you'd hit another dead end and then you'd go through that dead end
I
and you'd
was
get.
watching our good friends, Mike and Cindy over at Evolution Arts. Um, love those two couple. I mean,
Me
they have,
too, they're
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, those are the type of people, you just like to sit down and have a cup of tea with.
Absolutely, they're
Yeah,
just
because,
so great. Yes, they're
yeah, I
so
mean,
good. Right.
love their perspective, but as they're showing, um, not only are we having these effects on us individually, us as a society, but our planet it's doing some loops now. I mean, it's just it's getting very weird out there.
That channeling today was talking about how the Earth's rotation is going to be reversing.
Listen,
They're saying,
I'm going to cover yesterday's subject tomorrow, because here's the thing, this 13K theory is that these sudden cataclysmic events, which are called ELLIes, these are
mhm,
human eliminating life events, and um, it's why we can't figure out that if we've been here so long, why did it take us so long to get here? Well, it's not that it's taken so long for us to get here; is that we've been here before.
mhm,
Trina, I tell you, as I took the sabbatical last week, which I really needed,
yeah,
and just spent time with Lynn, and we just had just a great time intellectually and spiritually. It's that something happened in the 1600s. You look at that time period between 1550 and 1650, and it's almost as if something either flipped or something injected something into us. Because I had never looked at this before. We were on the path of ascension.
Yes.
We had come out of the dark ages, literally. That's
Yes.
what Rome imposed upon the consciousness of man, was this veil of darkness.
Yes.
Um, Something came to our rescue. I don't know if it was us collectively. I don't know, Trina, if it was something off world.
I think it was both. I think it
Maybe.
was both, because I think that there were off-world visitors
I
that
think
come
so.
down at certain periods of time and they educate the humans. And
We have a lot of paintings of that period of
yeah,
UFOs.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. And then that's when humans really start to evolve. And it seems like every time we get to a certain level, they clean house.
And this is what's really interesting, because if you look at what happened in 1615,
Mhm.
that's when this cat that everyone now has been under its spell, this dude called King James, um, when he unleashed what we now have as a sacred book, I'll just leave it at that.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that the divergence of that, what it had done for us when this path of ascension, it actually took us back.
It completely, it put us into, um, it completely
Some
stopped
say
our
it's a second
creation
dark age.
process. That's what I'm saying. It completely stopped our creation processes because it told us that we needed to be saved. We're
Exactly.
sinners. We're gonna
Yep.
go to hell. All
Yep.
this bullshit. So
Yep.
you learn to be a submissive servant slave.
And and it's really odd, because it's a term I think it's going to become much more popular, is that we are actually emerging out of the second dark age.
Yes.
Yeah, you look at what's happened to us in the last 100 years. The advancements that we've made, the tearing down of many of these barriers in perception. And what I didn't realize was that how much of an impact it had on science.
Oh, yeah.
Because, if you were going against what the Pope or the throne would say,
Off with their head.
bye, baby. See you later.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be ya, you know?
No, no, no,
No,
no.
I mean, it's just crazy. I
Yeah,
just
God
want to say, hey,
forbid
Big
you
Al, much love
yeah,
to you, brother, and David Barry, all you David
yeah,
Castle. That's a good
even
active room in there.
love them, love the soul.
But yeah, and here we are. I don't think I don't think psychically we can take too much more as a species. I mean, it's really weird, because there are something that I noticed when Lynn and I were out in the world, was that we saw two different types of beings, two different types of energies. We saw this one that seemed to be sedated,
Yes.
um, zombified is a word, maybe.
Mhm.
And then you had those rare individuals that have this spark, this light, that there's this
Yes.
energy.
You are seeing the bifurcation of humanity, and that is
Thank
the
you. Great
second
word, by the way.
greatest.
Big hug, hun, for that one. High five.
Again, you're seeing the third dimensional expression human being and the fifth dimensional human
Wow, and
being
it was very,
existing in the
very
same
plain.
sphere. Yes, this is
Yeah.
exactly what this is.
I
Yes.
mean, prior to actually getting out into the because of circumstances, you know, my world here is pretty well refined within literally a 2 mile area. In a 2 mile area, we have everything that we need.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
You're
mean,
contained in your own little reality bubble.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
And and
totally.
then all of a sudden we get this baptism in fire, and you're going, Holy crap, you know?
Yeah. When my
Yeah.
kids were little, I had that for them. I had them contained in their own little reality bubble, and it all got blown to shit when Brittany was about 10. But yeah, but they were in this reality bubble, and it was magical. And because of that, we got to see magic. Like one time a bird slammed into the window and like had blood coming out of its mouth and it was dead and it was a baby bird and the kids all saw it and I was like, oh boy. So we all put our hands together and prayed over the bird and it woke up and came back to life. I mean,
You didn't eat it though, right?
huh?
You remember the movie Paul?
Oh, no, we didn't eat it. Oh yeah,
No,
no, we did
no,
not
no,
pull
no.
the Paul.
The
Yes,
movie
I do
Paul.
remember. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What
It's
do you
like he brings
expect me?
out
You
like
think
a
I'm going
cycle.
to eat the thing dead?
Yeah, because it happened for like I think it was 6 little
Uh,
kids, from like probably 7 all the way down to 1. And oh, they were
that had to
so
be a
upset.
magical moment.
It was a magical moment because we
Had
were
to
so
be.
sad. We were doing the burial
Yeah.
prayer, talking to
Oh,
God to take its little spirit to heaven. And, we were going to put it in little blocks and make burial and do the whole thing. And it came back to life. It was a miracle. The kids I said, look at the power of your prayer. Look at what you did. And it really was. Wayne, this bird was dead because it was dead.
listen, I believe we have the ability to raise the dead. You don't need a God to do that.
I saw these kids do it.
I mean,
That was just
we
their
have been
heart.
so brainwashed, that
Yeah.
we think that somehow we need something that we can't see, can't define,
Yeah.
that somehow or another we're going to play the lottery with this thing, and it's going to either grant it or it's not. And no, 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 no. I'm telling you,
Mhm. We
I
have to understand the most powerful part of what we are is the heart. It's
yes.
what sends out the
Yeah.
frequency of your system. It supersedes the brain.
I
It
swear,
is
if people could see
secondary.
us what we are, we're light beings, folks. Not
Yes.
all of us.
Yes.
Listen. There's a broad mix here.
Yes.
There really is. I mean, and that sounds off the wall, but I am convinced Homo sapiens are probably the minority when you look at the whole collective.
Mm.
Because there's a lot of different, what I would call different souls that can inhabit these bodies.
Oh, I think that that's the unique part of this realm is that almost any kind of soul can
So
incarnate in this.
can we expand on that? Because, when you and I get together, we talk about this. I think we've been there, we've done this, and we're tired of it. Is broadcast news on the Roscoe. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. But
Yeah.
so we think that we're Homo sapiens, but reality says no, we are of a spiritual origin that we really can't define. Now, we think it's us that has the only ability to inject ourselves into a physical moment right before birth or in the development stage. And if we can assume these bodies, Trina, I'll guarantee you there are other species out there that can do the same thing.
I think that's why they want this coding changed because once you change the light coating of the body, then it's a perfect house for a different kind of energy, a different field of light, because it will match
Hmm.
the vibration of the light coding of the physical being. So, yeah, people might be getting kicked out of their own bodies.
Think
Ruh-roh.
about this. I mean, it's
That's what I'm seeing.
I've had some experiences that I will tell you. In the moment, I remember Amber, intuitive, Dawn, how she said that, when we have this interaction that we call coitus with each other, that there really is this exchange of energy.
Forever.
And if one energy is more seductive, more, how shall we say, vampiristic,
Yes.
parasitic,
Yes.
you can really fall. And I'll tell you, I've mentioned this before, but because it's so imprinted itself on my consciousness, there was a woman that what she turned into was not what I went home with, and freaked my white ass out.
Yep.
I mean, big time.
You met the
And
succubus?
literally, folks, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
um, I can't, and I'm reliving it, and it's you have to face it directly for what it is.
Yeah.
But that told me something.
Yeah.
And that creature only came out in a moment of in the act of the coitus itself.
Mhm.
And what people don't understand in sex magic is that you understand and you capitalize upon this portal, this vortex that opens up. And it's a moment when interdimensional beings, whether you want to call them succubuses, incubuses, whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
they have that is in the moment when they cannot hold the physicality look and it breaks down.
Uh-huh.
It's a
Yeah.
fact.
Absolutely. And also too, it's like I wonder too if that's just an energy that's always hovering around and it needs a certain specific frequency lock to actually dive into the physical body and take over.
I don't
So,
know, but I can tell you, we were at a concert. This is
mhm.
way back in my earlier youth days, but yeah, it's you know, and it taught me something. It really did, because the fact is, we're not all the same on the inside.
No,
No.
no, no.
Mm-mm.
There's all different kinds here. I think there's many.
That is true.
I do. I think
It really is.
there's all kinds walking around in human bodies from all different kinds of places, all different kinds of star systems.
Hey, Jenny and Marsha, so good to see y'all. Much love to you. Um, I'm just reading some of the comments, but
That's good.
that those were some of my early experiences, and I guess I was able to see them. Been doing a lot of reading in what they're now finding with LSD and spirituality, and that the inventors of LSD, that it was deliberately invented to open up portals.
Absolutely.
Now, people don't realize that, but that's exactly what it was designed to do, and that's why they use sodium pentothal, which is almost the same derivative of what lysergic diazoic acid is, um, as a truth serum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing too how just with different chemicals introduced into your system, your complete reality will shift
Yes. Yes.
everything. Hmm.
I said this yesterday. I saw this movie. It's called Synchronic, and it's about a chemist who developed a designer drug that was to give you a hallucinogenic experience. But what it did is it actually triggered the pineal gland, and once that got activated, you begin to tie in psychically to time, and it would literally take you back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, but
I think that anything that they're showing you on the movie screens like that means that this is already something they have
see, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
very advancedly developed.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is some
Give it to
pretty
us.
creative stuff. I don't watch much of it. I mean, last week I just took the whole, just tuned out. And there are some stuff on Netflix and Amazon Prime that, there are some shows that are they're either listening to us or they're amongst us.
Right.
I swear,
I
because
know.
Lynn and I, as
I
we were looking through these and we were looking at this, and she said, I think these people are getting ideas from y'all, from your show.
you know what I thought, Wayne? Literally, I've thought about this multiple times because this has happened to all of us in a pretty extreme way. And then we also see how we all gather information at the same time. Maybe a little varied, but pretty close, spot on. And all of us are getting all of it, different people all at the same time, which is, I see that phenomena all the time. So I wonder if when the collective, as being us, if we acknowledge that the potential exists, that's when they can actually officially drop the information. It's
Hmm.
like you finally ask the right question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting how you, because when you said something triggered him, I think so often we go through, okay, let's just use the word life, is that we're trying to find the right question to ask. I think we ask a lot of questions. I think they're the wrong questions we're asking.
Yes, I think so. I think, yes, I think there's a lot to asking the right questions.
It's like,
Uh-huh.
okay,
How do you
uh-huh.
ask what you don't know when you want to know what you don't know? It's like kind of hard.
Be careful, grasshopper, you know.
Right.
It's like, and sometimes it's like standing at the door and you get so frustrated because you're asking all these questions, but you're not getting anything. And
Yeah.
you think, is it me? And you realize, yeah, it is you, because there's others who come up and it seems like they're not even there anytime at all. They ask a question and we can't hear it because I think it comes from inside, and they go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an analogy, but
It's so true. It was making me think about when I was jumping off the roof when I was a kid, when I thought I could fly. I had this just, we need to
but you
work on
could, I mean,
that.
if a child could understand the laws that the child is in, I'll guarantee you the child would say, okay, so I'm dealing with the law of gravity, and then I have to begin to deal with inertia, etc. I swear, if you have a child who thinks that there's no boundaries, just like you, Jenny, I think of her as well, of getting out there and just flying.
Well, yeah, and you running across the treetops like
Yeah,
they were nothing,
exactly.
like they
My
were
brother and
clouds.
I was talking about that very
Yeah,
same thing. Yeah.
that's what I'm telling you. That's the child that knows it can do the impossible. It's an amazing, amazing thing to be tapped into that courage, because when you understand you're invincible, it's very powerful, because as children, we really are. And it's because I really do think that where we came from, that is reality, because it
Yeah.
wouldn't be existing in our mind if it wasn't familiar or we didn't have a concept of it. So where we come from, we must be able to fly and jump on the treetops and walk on them like they're clouds. It makes total sense to me. And that's why he said, no, not here. You can't do that here. You're in a physical body. You'll go splat. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I'm like, I can chew, I can fly. And I just knew. But it was so funny because with that knowing, with that faith of my own abilities, I was literally caught by angels and
Mhm.
shoved into the bushes. So they supported me like a safety net, even when I dove off crazy head
Technically,
first.
at least for 2 or 3 seconds, you were in fact flying. It may be called
Yes,
falling, but
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So it's so
So
amazing when you look at all the different ways of the way so much information was gathered in that moment. So
because
trust
here's
that
the
we aren't
delusion our
impossible.
minds are. We
Yeah.
we are literally living in
Yes.
not this seamless fluidity. It's not that's the false reality. We
Yes.
live in moments.
Yes.
And so Trina, you were flying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
I
I
mean,
did.
and if we could have just, as you were talking, when that happened, when we was living, in fact, I was living with my dad, that I found refuge in the top of trees.
Yeah.
Because when I would, we had this huge mulberry tree in our yard, and I mean, the thing was 40 feet. It was huge. And because of what I was going through, the trauma, I would climb to the top of these trees because for me, it was the only place where I and the wind could be one. And I would many times fantasize that I was the wind because the wind was always going to carry me away from the pain that I was in.
That's a spirit. That's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
and at the top of the tree there was safety there because
Yeah,
nothing from the ground, that terrible place called hell, could touch me when I was up in the tree.
that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And it's funny because it was so hot in Arizona. I found my solace. I used to dig holes under the trees and find
That's
refuge
so,
in the roots of the tree.
yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
That's where I would go to get out of the heat. and it was
I had
always
not
cool.
considered that. You
Yeah,
as a child growing up, and I see you more as a tomboy. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure
I
you
was.
were, but so what does a child do in the desert? Well, it
Oh
would
gosh, all kinds of stuff. Slide down rock piles on tires and ride dirt bikes and yeah,
and dig.
yeah, dig holes and make forts. Yeah,
Yeah, I had
because
never
there was
thought
always
because it.
trash out in the desert, so you could find like wood and you could find all kinds of stuff out there. You just had to go look for it. Yeah. Yeah, so it's always like a treasure camp too. You'd find big old piles of Playboy magazines and all kinds of crap out there too. It was nuts. Yeah, but it was literally, it was always interesting because it
Brought
was
to you
always like,
courtesy of nature's way, right?
yeah, well, you could tell it was the pissed off wife, that just went out there because there's nothing but dirty
That's what I
magazines
love about
in this
humanity.
pile.
We have porn in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
You're going
in
to
the
find
middle of
porn.
nowhere. Absolutely. I got introduced to porn when I was very small because of the people dumping in the desert. Yeah.
Wow, that there is so much we could talk about that just from a sociology point of view. It's like, let's examine what's going on here. I mean, so
Yeah.
you're taking your now I don't know whether they're hiding it, they're throwing it away. I
Oh, they were
mean,
throwing it away because it won't last long and sitting out in the desert.
I hadn't thought about that.
Oh, yeah, it
Well,
won't
I
last
never
long.
see the desert to me is a foreign that's another planet.
Oh yeah, it is. But yeah, the wind and the sun and the rain, it just destroys it because it's just so hot. I mean, they'll be out there, but they get wet and hardened and they're just ruined. So yeah, they're
Damn.
dumped. They're dumped. Yeah, they were meant to be dumped. And like, wait, if somebody wants them, here you go, find them, have at it. But yeah, after about a few weeks, they're not worth.
By the way, did you see the what's been happening with more frequency in Saudi Arabia with the hailstorm that they had covered just tens of miles, made the desert white. More snow is falling in the desert than in many places where in Europe. So the Saudi Arabian desert got more frozen than parts of Europe. So yeah, anyway. So
Wow,
I heard it gets cold in the desert at night.
not really.
Not really.
No, very rarely. I mean, like we've had a couple times in January where it was really cold, but and that was like our really cold where we're breaking records is 19 degrees. So that's
Okay.
record breaking for us. So normally it's around
That's hoodie weather up here.
sometimes around 60s,
Okay.
50s. It's not
Because
that cold.
I used to have to go and work a convention every year in Las Vegas in August,
Uh-huh.
called the VSDA, the Video Software Dealers Association.
Mhm.
Anyway, I could never figure out why the hell they
Oh, it's hot,
planned
hot,
this
hot.
convention like the first week of August.
Yeah, because they get good hotel rates. It's cheap.
So we were staying at the Hilton before they had built the new convention center, and you had to walk across the parking lot. And I'll never forget the women that it was so GD hot
Yeah.
that their heels were sinking
Sinking
into.
in the asphalt.
Yeah,
Correct.
yes, thank you.
Correct.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And
Yes.
then we went down, there's a great restaurant in Vegas called it's at the Four Queens called Hugo Cellar. Highly recommend it. But so we're waiting to get a cab, and I remember it's like 11:30 and it was still 104 degrees.
Yeah. Straight up. Yep. That's August. That is definitely August in Arizona and Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and the cab driver, she I still remember her. What a personality. And we were complaining about the heat, and she says, yeah, she says this dry heat. Let me tell you about the dry heat. A dry heat is a microwave that you put your head into.
Right.
She said,
Exactly. It does.
uh,
It feels like you're walking into an oven.
an oven. Yes, it does. It's
An
like a
oven.
freaking blast furnace, is what it
Yep.
felt like to me.
Yep. It feels like you walk into an oven. Yeah. It's
Now,
really
true
weird.
story, Trina. When I was coming down with the meningitis and the Lyme disease at the same time, I was actually in Las Vegas at this very convention. And I still remember the intensity of the headaches and the fever. But we went from the Palace Station over to the Mandalay Bay.
Mhm.
That was the worst trip I still remember it. I really felt like I was in hell.
Wow.
I was already becoming delusional and hallucinogenic because of the
Oh, yeah.
fever. But
Right.
I remember that it was really strange in that cab. I can still remember that, man, that I thought, how did I get here? And I said,
Right.
why is it so hot? But you grew up in that environment. So for you,
Yeah.
it's normal.
Yeah.
And how
You
did you
did.
keep your skin so from what I haven't met you yet in person. That's going to happen. I've met you in previous
Virtual.
lives. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
agree.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. In fact, a lot of us in this room have met
Yes.
us. Listen, we're probably
Many
much
lives.
more verse as a tribe than what people think.
Yeah.
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 So how did you keep the skin? Because you look, I've seen a lot of people who purposely sunbathed in the 70s, and now that they're getting into their 70s, they
Hmm.
look like, the proverbial tanned hide.
Yeah. Well, I'm gold. I don't ever turn brown. So no matter what, I just don't. I have yellow skin. So I'm yellow. So that's just part of my genetics. But no, my family, we do get skin damage from the sun. Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
compliment you on the fact
Oh,
that
thank you. But
you,
yeah, being light too doesn't help. But it's weird
yeah,
too because a lot of people they will get black out here. I mean, the
yeah,
Hispanics
yeah.
they will get so tan, and then the Native Americans they get really, really, really dark, but they have that red
They have
undertone.
the red skin. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
amazing. So, but yeah, my I've got two parts of my family, the pinks and then the yellows. So, but I got the yellow. So yeah, I don't ever turn brown,
My
no matter what.
background is, white.
That's me. That's why no matter how tan, I
It's
just
like,
never get
you
really
know,
tan. I just kind of stay brownish gold. I don't ever get dark.
it's
Yeah, I'm
between,
yellow. Yellow.
the Great Britain and uh it's European. So yeah,
Me
yeah.
too. Me too. I'm Irish, Danish, Norwegian, Welsh, um, Scottish, and German.
I'm also 11% Italian.
Oh yeah, my girls are
How about that, huh?
Alessandro. Alessandro, they're Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's funny. It's the Northern Italians, which are the blonde, blue-eyed.
Yes, yes. I'm not the southern, I'm from the northern parts.
Yep, yep, that's
It's
blonde
like
blue-eyed, yeah.
yes,
From the
so I
Vikings.
suddenly start hearing Dean Martin,
Yeah,
yeah, in the
yeah,
background. And you feel like you want to get a pizza, but
yeah.
pizza is a misnomer because it's actually, I think it was invented here. Wasn't it invented here or where was that? Anyone know in
Um,
the chat room?
I don't know. It's so funny. My sister lived in Italy for 13 years. She
Did
married an
she now?
Italian. Yes, she did. My nieces and nephews, they're
Hmm.
bilingual and they're dual citizened. And yeah,
Well,
so
that whole area in the Italian Alps that go up and through the Alps into Switzerland, that to me is, you know, that to me would be paradise. Yeah.
yes. My
Yeah.
sister says one of her favorite places in Italy is Palermo. So
Mm,
if I ever go back to Italy, I want to
yes.
go to Palermo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Great
lived in a
scene
little
in the
town
movie
called
Patton
Cabo.
about Palomaro. It played a huge role in the Allied forces in liberating Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I just love this. I mean, and I have to tell you, the energy when we get together here, there's such a serenity to it. It's like, there is such a built up anxiety out there in this thing we called the world, the life,
Mhm.
reality, I guess. But wow,
I know.
come in here, we can sit
Just
back
feel,
and
yeah, feel life
yeah,
and be good and have a
yeah,
conversation, have a
yeah.
favorite libation with your
Well,
friend.
that's what I have, a nice cup of tea. And I think there's about 200 of us in here. And,
Yes.
you know,
I
and
think that's
everyone seems to
90%.
enjoy except someone didn't like us. So who's ever smoking, put that thing out,
Yeah.
We don't want to see no thumbs down. What the hell's going on here?
Right. But you always have to have a little bit of the balance in there, so it's
Got
okay.
to, it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And regardless, they're sending energy your way. So hey, we'll take
Hey,
the
it's
salt with
like
the
you're
pepper. It's all right.
it's okay. I mean,
It's okay.
sometimes the water's too cold,
Right.
like
Yeah.
although I can't imagine swimming in hot water. Although I did live in
Oh,
the Texas Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico can become a bathtub.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it gets so freaking warm.
It's
Um,
so funny when
I
we were
see you, Darlene. How are you doing, dear? It's
it was
the thing's just going like this.
right.
I see you, hon. How are you? So what you reading there?
I'm reading this morning when you were telling me about, transition and, how just everything is just so weird. And, it's how we were talking about how chemicals can completely change your complete reality. The whole reality can shift.
Yep.
And it seems to me we're going into with this new light. This is exactly what this is. This is that potential is what I'm seeing is it's going to shift the reality like before our eyes. And they keep talking about this 3 days of
Yeah,
darkness.
you were talking about this prior that that now, I've heard about 3 days of darkness, because I come from, a Christian indoctrination.
Yeah.
And of course, that was one of the sign of the end times. And listen, the way I kind of look at it is they don't here's the thing, I'll tell you, people say it's the end times, right?
Yeah.
But wait a minute, you're using the pluralistic of time in a multi
The end of that time and the
context.
beginning of a new one. Yes,
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean,
not the end.
so end of
It's a
times is the
reset.
beginning of times.
Wayne, what I see this is like it's a rebooting of the computer. Literally. It's a reboot of the computer. And when the screens come back up online, you're going to have a new Windows system. It's all different.
See, I don't this operating system because you begin to go, okay,
Right.
it's like I don't know. My dad, he was cremated,
Uh-huh.
and I thought it was really interesting how we approach these things even in the afterlife. And suddenly it dawned on me that as a species, we really approach these things of passing over in such a wide variety of perspectives.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely.
So, Lynn and I, we're going to be, cremated. And
Me
because
too.
I tell you what freaks me out, Trina, is the thought of my body, which I love my body.
Uh-huh.
My body has been, wow, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But sitting in the ground,
And the
rotting
worms
away.
and the
What the
chemicals.
hell?
Nope, 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 not interested
Nope, nope,
in
nope, nope,
that.
nope, 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 nope,
No,
nope, nope, nope,
no,
nope.
because the earth requires that what you've taken from it, which are the minerals. And when you burn the body down to the minerals, you are left with the ash. And the ash is what the earth requires to be returned to her. So give her back her forth her ash, but you don't have to decompose into the earth. And it just takes up a lot of space. And how many bodies do you think we can bury in the ground before there's no more ground left? Because the bodies are temporary, but this experience is not.
You
So it's
see,
been
I
going
kind
on.
of look at, I've developed this, I don't know if it's a belief, but maybe it's a point of view and opinion. You see, I believe I'm from the ether. I believe that my essence, that's where I originate from. The
Me.
ether is beyond description.
Yep.
I've come here. Um, I was writing this morning that I see myself more as the observer and not the experiencer.
Yeah.
I am the experiencer. I'm experiencing this,
Yes.
but I'm seeing it as an observer.
Absolutely. That is one of those
Yeah.
levels of becoming a fifth dimensional
It's weird.
creator. Yeah.
And
Yes. And
so the reason why I'm going to go with the cremation is that fire is the only thing I know in alchemy that causes the distillation process. In other words, it
utter,
releases one substance into the form of another.
Utter purification. The
Yes,
highest
ma'am. It, it,
form of
it is.
purification. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't see how we cannot, because I thought a lot about this. All right. So burial, they put you into the ground. To me, it seems like you're getting set up for the recycle already.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's got, yeah. It just seems like you're
Because
set up for it.
they're even trying to preserve the dead body. That means they're completely attached to the third dimensional reincarnation cycles, that they are super 3D and they're just going to keep coming back because they are even worshiping the body. The false idol worship, that's like first commandment, duh. So
And
yeah.
the thing that gets me is that in cryogenics, you got people now, they're making more advances, but it dawned on me um, last week. I had this moment of clarity that I don't want immortality. I don't want immortality in this body.
Oh
I
man,
love this
I'm with
body.
you.
This realm has been it's been a real trip, but
Mhm.
I know that my origins are outside of this realm.
I do too. I absolutely do too. I remember before I came here, I remember making my body. I remember not wanting to come in after I made it. And I was like, oh, what was I thinking? Holy crap. So yeah, no,
Oh,
nope, nope. And once you see these things in your own mind, it's that you can't unpop the popcorn. It's done.
yeah,
Done.
yeah.
Done. So once you remember that you're more than your body and you remember it, like how much more real that is than your body, because this is a character. You put on a costume to come into this experience.
Yeah.
And boy, I think through the experience, somehow it got hijacked by dark, evil controllers. And I think this is actually one of those massive opportunities in creation where many are going to get free that haven't been able to
I
for a
think
long
so.
time. Yeah, and I think a lot of people dove in to help people get free, the ones that can. So this is the bifurcation of humanity is what we're seeing. And Magenta Pixie is the one who coined that term. So I got to give her credit. But that's exactly what it is. It's a bifurcation. It's that splitting that
And
I was
that's what you
shown when
mean.
I was a
It's
little
a
girl.
legal term, actually. It's when you have a bifurcated jury. In other
Well,
words, you have a split jury.
yes, and this is exactly
That's
what's
what it
happening.
means.
It's a split jury,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
perspectives, two consciousnesses developing, going on different paths. And this is
Mhm.
exactly what's supposed to be happening right now. So it's all good.
When I practice alchemy, I have a number of things in a number of the Bunsen burners I have out there, there's only certain things that the when you distill them or you put them through fire, and the ashes that you have from that is then mixed with other substances, and from that you can begin to really go quite a little journey. But the point that I've learned in that is that you cannot many substances require it to be burned,
Mhm.
and
Fire.
the fire and the ash is really
It's
the
the
essence.
only, yeah, which is the highest purification because it's
Thank you.
only the minerals. That's all that's left are the elements. That's
Yeah.
it. Nothing other than the elemental structure. So you've gotten rid of all the imprints of the magnetic coding from the reality into that substance, and you're firing it and taking it down to its smallest original source essence code.
Mm.
Purification of fire means you get small and then you ignite back into big. But yeah,
Then
you're
I
going,
take monotonic gold and
yes, fire
yeah.
needs fire,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's
fire.
why I take it each, it's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
telling you. There's
Yeah.
something about this fire thing that's really awesome. And
Yeah.
a lot of people are afraid of the fire. And I'm pretty sure the fire is the North Gate, and that is the spiritual fire. Most will never be brave enough to go through that. I've already been tested in this world. Boo rah, baby. I went right through it. I'm going to go for it again. Bring it.
I I used to do a lot of retreats, and back in the days there was Est that was around, and did one retreat with Tony Robbins. And the thing about when you said the fire, walking through the fire is very easily done.
Yeah.
The fact that each of us can, and it's the most amazing thing. How many people in the chat room have done this? Actually, have you walked through the coals of fire and you find out you don't even have to run through them? You can just
Wayne, I
literally
walked through a wall of fire and I didn't have one hair on my
see.
head.
Thank you.
A whole wall of fire, like not coals, freaking
Fire.
5-foot high wall, 2 feet wide of fire. And my daughter ran through too, and you've seen her long mane. She didn't get one
Yeah.
eyebrow singed or nothing. We ran through fire,
See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Didn't touch us.
And
Right.
even, there's metaphors even in many of the sacred books out there, the Quran, the Bible, etc. But it's always talking about passing through the fire. It's
Yeah.
Paul writes of that. It says that, when we leave this earth, that's why I think cremation is the way that you literally pass through this fire, and what is burnt is all of the hay, wood, and stubble. These are your negative attributes. I don't believe that, but the fact is, and then what you have on the other side is that you have the purity.
Yeah, and that's exactly like the gold. It's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It brings it back to its original, purest, highest vibrational form, because all the coating of matter and stuff has been layered on it, and then it cleans it. Yeah.
I bet Karen could say this, Queen of Quartz, that, when you melt gold down, it's not pure gold. It's filled with contaminants.
Yes.
And so you have to get that top
layer off.
Yeah,
or whatever they call it.
There's a word for it. I can't.
Yeah, slough
or something. Yeah, and then you have, but even we can't produce 100% gold.
No.
Yeah. I'm looking at my periodic table over there, and it's reminding me that's true, but you can't produce pure gold.
Nope, you can't. I wonder if monatomic gold would be considered pure.
It's very interesting you mentioned that, because I've done a little experimentation in some of the solution that I use, and it's interesting because there is elements of gold within it. You can actually detect it.
I bet. Yep. Like I said, fire.
Slag. Thank you, Dick. That's what it's called. Slag. Yes.
Yes. Like it's Luther. I'm like, it's something like that.
It's something like that. Well, we were close. Slag, I mean, I'm not sure how close, but we were in the neighborhood.
Yep, in the neighborhood. But we knew we knew the term. Yeah.
And and so here we are. We get the talk, and we experience this whole thing. Passing over. I think that we're in the process here of passing over.
I do too. And like I said, I think that we literally, remember how they kept telling me when I was a kid that we came here to do something that was never done before. And they were showing me that we would be like Jesus. And I was like, and that wasn't a person, that was a concept of abilities. All people would have these abilities. And then the child prophet was talking about 3 days of darkness and diving through these holes, and then we would come out, and then there'd be this new light and new rainbows, and people would have colors. This all sounds to me like a reboot of a construct. And it appears that some are going to go into a 5th dimensional new screen, and some are going to go into a 3rd dimensional continuum. And the galactics now we're talking about that this 3 days of darkness might actually paralyze you. That's why they're saying as soon as you know the 3 days of darkness is coming.
What is going to be causing this 3 days of darkness?
I think it's like a computer boot reset. I swear to God, Wayne, I've seen a computer.
Is it metaphoric or is it literal?
Literal.
Literal. So that means our star would be impacted.
Every star impacted.
Okay.
I'm seeing cosmic, like this is huge. What's happening? Huge. At least probably within this solar system.
I'll tell you what my big concern is. I've been meditating, and I'm hearing this in my times outside this body, is that I think that it's possible that if we continue, because our species it impacts us so much that we never even read about it. But if these cosmic rays continue, I believe that we could potentially reach a point where we all wake up with mass amnesia.
I think that
And we self-destruct ourselves within this mass hysteria.
I think that that I think that that has happened before, but this is Aquarius. This is the age of Aquarius. Now, the ram could spiral your head out to where you'd know nothing because it's all brand new. That's the beginning. This is Aquarius. This is air. This is spirit. This is reconnecting the spirit to the matter. That's why you have it's the water bear. That's the spirit going into the water. That's the spirit going into matter. This is why they're trying to block the sun, because it's going to wake us up. People are going to start waking. This cycle,
I think they already are.
That's what I mean. This cycle is about returning to the spiritual part of us. This is like the huge, big, can it be done to bring God into flesh? Can it be done to have higher consciousness existing within mankind in a service to self, other than service to other, in a service to others, rather than service to self existence, because it's been service to self taken over by bad people for a long time. So this was what I saw, was that we would be going through one of the biggest can you do it's of it, like so long of a period of time we can't even imagine. So this is a big deal what's happening, and I literally do see that this is a reset, and that's why they keep saying, oh, we're going to reset. It's like, oh yeah, you have no idea. Yeah,
it's interesting because when I look at this and I think about epochs, epochs are periods of time.
yes.
It can be 1,000 years, it can be 1,000,000 years. And so we've come from the ram, Taurus, into Aquarius.
Yep.
The question that I guess I don't see being talked about or even written that much about, I don't think it's possible to move from one epoch into another. There is always this transition period.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I sense that we are more part of now, is this transition period. And this is where the chaos comes in.
I think that we literally came in specifically at this time to make sure that we were in the transition period.
Interesting.
Because if we didn't come in at the transition, it had a greater chance of failing without us here. But our consciousness being on this present planet at this present transitional period is the consciousness wave that was needed to make the planet go into the ascension programs.
It's interesting, Raven. I see what you wrote here. Micronova. I'm Ben Davidson. I mean, that's the catastrophe
that would be
block
our
out the sunlight.
Resetting. Yes, that would be
memory affected.
Yes.
My electromagnetic fields store a piece of your beach to recover. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, but I'm beginning to think that what if this is very possible? Could you imagine a whole planet where everyone has virtually lost their memories?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen this time, though, Wayne. I really don't.
So you think that
we're going to have full conscious awareness, but it's all, you aren't going to lose it this time.
Now, would you see that for the vast majority or for everybody?
For everybody, but I see a bifurcation of humanity. We're splitting dimensions. Some are going to go back into third and some are going to fifth. And it's like I said, at first you would see us all together, like you saw at the airport. And then all of a sudden there will be the splitting, and it'll be because of what I saw was what people call ascension. Ascension means death, people, and we need to understand that this means death. So many people will be ascending off the planet.
Yeah, and that's a question that the splitting, but here's the thing. The reason why I came to a point with the whole Nibiru community, the whole Planet X thing, that although there were enough signs that validated that there was change in our solar system, et cetera, what I remember I was out walking and it just came to me. I said, so where's all this leading to? And even if you look at the cataclysm theory, everything, the reset, it's still ends up at one doorstep, death.
Yes.
And that's when I made the decision to walk away from that. And I said, I'm going to focus. Listen, if death is the inevitability,
None of us get out alive. It's
exactly.
gonna
So I
happen.
want
Yeah,
to prepare on the inside,
that's what it is.
not prepare on
Yeah,
the outside.
absolutely. Because, and the best way to do that is to not have fear of death.
Yeah.
Because when you don't fear it, just like when I was a child and I was going to jump off that roof, I had no fear of death. None, 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 none. He's like, you're going to go splat. I'm like, oh, I don't care. And I don't think so. You know, no, no.
Love
So,
that.
no, that's where we got to get back, because you know what? We know that we are here now. All
Yeah,
of
we
us
do.
expire eventually. It could be normal. Like we just die normal, like normal life. You never know. Everybody's doing a different part in this whole experiment. All people are doing different things. So yes, many people will be ascending. Millions of people die every year normally and naturally. So this is common. You know,
Had
nothing to be afraid
170,000 people die a day. Every
of.
near-death experience I've had, I've never been afraid.
Absolutely. And Wayne, we're going to be in these cataclysmic things are happening. We've got 50 something volcanoes going off. All this stuff is crazy. So people are getting hurt and dying right now. This is, I think it's not going to be really any different than what we're seeing, but we're just going to see some little waves are going to be bigger and some waves will be, but there's these waves. I keep seeing these waves and waves and waves and waves, and we're riding these waves. So,
Excuse me. Like I said, I have been over in the receiving center on the other side. It's
yeah.
huge. It's
Yeah.
not just receiving this planet, it's receiving a lot.
Soul.
There's a lot of, yeah, from a
Yeah.
lot of other
Soul.
places.
Yes.
Um, that's just reading some of the thing here. Hello, Ruby. How are you doing? There's Paul Joe. Good to see you. Flight risk. We have our smile. Uh, yes, back, I did not know that. Started listening back in 2014.
Oh,
That's
wow.
and who'd have thought, it's 7 years ago.
Two, I
And
think.
yeah, it's, that's, that's going back, Um, I'm just reading some of the comments. God put fear in Noah's heart to build the ark. Yeah. Fear is it's the worst motivator, you know.
Yeah. And it's like we need to be
It
prepared.
really is. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, when you're fearful, yeah.
And there's really nothing to fear because, guys, we're immortal. We really are. And I mean, but we are in this reality and it's scary sometimes, and things do happen and they are very real when they're happening. But once you're out of it, like you said, Wayne, when you're on those other places, you're fine.
I'll share a experience that
So, okay.
happened to me here a couple of weeks ago. I had was returning from doing some errands and had a car come up behind me, and there's 3 lanes on the boulevard I was on, and just cut us all 3 off and almost caused 2 people have a wreck, and then sped up. And then as the traffic was catching up, this person stopped dead center, and as I pulled around on my right side around the car, the guy in the car pulled a gun on me.
Oh my God.
And it was a 45 Glock. I knew exactly what it is. And it's really interesting at that point what you do, how some people would react. Some people would become afraid. I wasn't afraid at all. In fact, I told him, I put a spell on him.
Uh-huh.
I said, that which you have done unto me is now doing unto you. Your heart is tightening and you are beginning to feel tightening. And he went and grabbed his chest, and he was a black man,
Yeah.
and said, I'm going to F you and shoot you. And I said, and the word that thou speaketh unto me is stabbing your heart right now.
Mhm.
And he says, I'm having a heart attack. I'm having a heart attack. And I said, and thus so shall it be. And I drove off.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, pulled a gun on me.
Reversing,
I mean, in a road rage incident. And, it was just
reversing.
crazy. Yeah.
Wayne, there's
Yeah.
power in the reversing. It's
Yeah.
like reversing. It's like all I'm gonna do is send what you're sending out,
Yeah.
returning it to you. I have seen the same thing happen.
He called me a devil man.
Yeah. Well,
He said,
I think that this is maybe why we are here, is to reverse the dark crap that's being thrown at humanity and turn it back on to the senders, because we don't want to create any of it, but some of us have to clean it up, and the only way to do that
someone's
is
got, sometime you have to take the trash out, you
you
know?
just have to reverse. You
Yeah.
just reverse it.
Yeah.
Reverse. That's all it is. Reverse.
Yep.
Reverse.
That was one of those things. And, you know, it wasn't until I got home and told Lynn about it that, you know, that, and of course she starts crying. She says, you could have been killed. And I just told her, I said, no, I said, I never had an ounce of fear.
Yep.
Not one. I mean, it's amazing because I knew my magic.
Yep.
And I think that the man was literally having heart palpitations because what he was trying to do was force his fear upon me
Absolutely.
and take control of my energy and feed off of that. All I did was reverse it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you're a devil man. You're a devil man.
No, it means you're just not going to put up with people's bull crap. And
Don't
a
be
lot of,
pulling a gun on me. You're the one who's
yeah,
acting nuts.
I was going to say, and I think we're going to see a lot of this, guys. So this might be very important. You guys might need this because this might be coming, and you're going to
Yeah,
need to
folks,
protect yourself
you
against
have to.
people having crazy, irrational behavior. This
Yep.
might be the best tool that we could have in our toolbox right now, because this is getting like, it's happening a lot.
You start controlling the energy, and because I knew exactly that's the only reason why people do those times. They're trying to inflict immediate fear, and if you have no fear of death, it's like, seriously, that's the worst you're going to do to me? You're going to threaten me with death?
Right.
Well, you're a rookie.
Right. Right. You're a
Now,
rookie. That's,
yeah,
yeah, that's a
yeah.
great, yes, 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 yes,
Now,
yes.
if you're going to tell me that you're going to surround me with the a succubus, now we're going to be talking.
Mhm.
It's like, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I'd be like, oh, I would be glad to have an opportunity like that again, because this time I'm going
Oh,
to handle it. Oh, yeah. Because
if I,
once you know, it's game over. There's so much power in wisdom, knowing things. When you know something, yeah, that's pretty
and,
much.
I give thanks to, the creator of all things that I lived through that experience, because I got a
Yes.
sense that there are other people who don't.
Right.
I just,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I literally, when I got out of the room there, I was literally looking at all my limbs like, did I come out with
Absolutely.
did I come out with
Absolutely.
everything all right?
Oh God, yes. Oh man. Yeah,
Oh,
that's some hardcore stuff right there. Uh-huh. Nope.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this
You
hour has
know,
gone by like, yesterday's
Brian,
tomorrow.
Brian got hit with one of those too one time.
Did he really?
Oh
I could
boy,
see
he
that.
did. He did, Wayne. Oh, yeah. He felt like you when he was like, I can't believe I lived through that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You just,
not happy now. No, 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 no. Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah,
No,
you and
no.
Brian, that cracks me up. The only two I know. I'm like, you men, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
we could
cool.
talk for another hour on that
I know.
subject alone.
I know, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yes, yes. The
Hmm.
energies, like I said, there's certain ones that love to feed, and we just need to understand there's going to be instability. We got to be stronger than the instabilities around us. Keep
Yes,
the
we
balance, keep the faith, and know your power, and be courageous.
yes. And
Yeah.
learn to only think with the larger of what you have. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and the heart. Just literally like try to even get bypass the brain and go into the knowing part of you, which is the heart. What do you feel? What is that magnetic pull? Because usually that's going to be your strongest compass.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert V says, wonderful show. Well, thank all of you.
Love you,
Appreciate
Robert.
all of y'all. Just we love y'all, and wow. Yeah.
Mwah.
Much love, and Trina, what you got plans for this week, or what's
Robert and I are on tonight, so we
on
actually,
tonight?
yes, we have a show tonight, and Milky Way Soul Tribe, y'all, and I believe it's at 6 p.m. Pacific Mountain. I think I'm terrible with time, so look for the notification. So,
Yes.
and then Friday night, Andromeda 7, I think, I'm pretty sure, and then Saturday night I might be actually gone again. So, yeah,
Okay. So
crazy.
tonight, over the Milky Way Soul Tribe, what are y'all
Yes,
going to be talking about?
I can't remember. Robert sent me 2 reminders on it, and
Okay.
had a lot going on.
Yes, Darlene, I know what's in your heart. I do. Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
but he's got somebody special coming on because we're doing it on a Tuesday night. So it's somebody,
Yeah, that's unusual. Okay.
yeah, so
I'll
I'm excited, and
tune
it's gonna
into
be
that.
good. I'm
Yeah.
definitely showing up for that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I had the whole birthday stuff going on and
Yeah, it
axe
was
throwing.
your birthday last week.
Yes, and axe
Yeah.
throwing. So much fun. Y'all try to
Yeah.
throw some axes. It's really fun.
Yeah, she literally uh she
Yeah,
was throwing axes. It's a
sure was.
fact, you know.
It was super fun. Yes.
Well, I always look at it like this with the birthdays, at this point, do they really matter?
Not really. It's
No.
just the day that I got to be of Earth. I do
I
celebrate
don't
that.
even know how old I am. I mean, I think none of us do. Yeah.
No,
You
we
know,
might not. We really might not.
so it's really kind of a fantasy that we play with ourselves. What, let me rephrase that.
I think it's some kind of a gauge we can put on the
Yeah,
avatar.
we can do it that way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Someone's
like,
gonna get
okay, this decade you could look forward to this, and this decade you could look forward to
uh,
this. So it's kind of a gauge of the avatar, I
oh,
think.
I love this. All right. All right, everyone. Tune in tonight over there. Make sure you subscribe and let's
And I'm
see.
so glad you're back, Wade.
Thank you. It's just
Oh,
humbled, and it's good. I missed you, and I
we
missed
missed you.
everyone here. It was just
Yes, missed you back.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just
Oh,
um yeah, yeah. All right,
yeah.
everyone. Much love to you. See y'all
Yeah.
tomorrow, and